Hi everyone, welcome to another chat, Compete Proud chat with a very special guest today here in Pride House, Paris 2024, Rose Bonnet with an amazing view. I'm excited to be talking today with a five-time European and world champion and gold and silver Olympic medalist, Guillaume Cizeron from France. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure, and I'm really excited talking from figure skater to figure skater, friend, long time, competing and growing up together and seeing each other from international competitions. We're here today to hear a bit more about you, about your story, and of course, everybody knows who you are and your sports success, but we want to also get the feeling a bit more on what and how did your personal life could be a turning point in your career that have impacted you positively to be who you are today, to be open as part of the LGBTIQ plus community, and also participating in such important initiatives as Pride House, being an ambassador here in Paris.
Oh my God, that's a
There's
broad
too many
question.
questions.
Well, obviously, I'm thrilled to be here at the Olympics and at Pride House. I think it's an amazing opportunity, to hear so many different voices from all around the world, from athletes from any category. It's an important celebration, I think, because we've come a long way, as a community. And yeah, what do you want to know about me?
Yeah, so
If you can narrow it down.
narrow it down. Let's say when we spoke back then, I recall it was 2020, and you had an interview with a French magazine.
Yes.
What I would ask you, what was the turning point that and why you decided to speak about it, and is there a reason behind on this decision?
It's kind of funny because I never really intended to come out, and to this day I strongly believe that nobody should really have to come out, if they don't want to. But for me, on the International Day against homophobia and transphobia, I posted a picture with my boyfriend. So that was just kind of a random move, but I had never really posted any pictures with him before, or at least not in a, like we didn't look intimate, but on that picture we did. So people thought that I was coming out, And I was like, first of all, if I did want to come out, that was not the way.
Yeah.
I would have done something different. But I was just like, you know what? I don't know. It was just kind of random, and I was so surprised that the reaction was so big. And then a lot of journalists asked me to give interviews. They were like, do you want to speak about your coming out story? And that kind of, I got really frustrated because in a lot of, online, in some articles online, the titles were Guillaume's coming out, and it made me a little bit angry that the media and the people would kind of like put those words in my mouth. Like I never said I was coming out, you know what I mean? So they made it that story.
Yeah.
And then I realized, okay, like I guess we don't really have the luxury today to be like, I'm just gonna live my life and whatever. So that encouraged me to openly speak about it and share my thoughts on the subject.
I think this is something also to acknowledge that in a way, as you said, there was no intention for you to say, hey, I'm coming out. Like you were in a way living your life within your circles, but you did this organically with a post with your partner, which is something beautiful, but probably there was a second thought on doing it or not. Maybe there was, as you said, you have never posted something so intimate until that point. And then, of course, there was a repercussion on the media because you are a top French athlete for the nation, and it was definitely major than you expected. So is this something
Yeah.
that made you think about, okay, how do I want to reframe this? And now that it's out there, I want to give a message. So is this when you got to the point of, okay, I will write an interview, I will do an interview?
Yeah. I think I didn't really fully measure the impact that I could have. I was just kind of I was in my own bubble. I was, I was not in the closet at that time, and I didn't hide anything. I didn't really care if people knew that I was gay or not. I didn't ask myself these questions. I was just always kind of private about my personal life, as it's everybody's choice to share like who they're dating or not. But yeah, I guess the seeing that me just living my life the way I wanted to live it resulted in like a huge, I don't know, fuzz. Made me realize like, oh, okay, like we're not there yet. Like maybe I have something to say that can help someone out there. So I guess for me, when I realized I could help, that was the click for me. I was like, oh, me, like being in my position and saying I'm gay openly can impact somebody, somewhere positively, and I can make them feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that was the tipping point for me, where I was like, okay, this might actually make a good difference. And so I accepted, but it was important to me to control the narrative and to control what I wanted to say. And it's not easy, because even to this day, people come to me and they're like, oh my God, I loved your coming out story and the book of your coming out. And I was like, that was not my intention, but I accept that that's what it is.
Yes.
People didn't know, and today that's what we have to do,
I think this is something that you said, and that as the more I hear the stories from LGBTQI plus athletes, is that once you realize and it clicks in a way, and you realize that you can be of help, you can be a reference to others, this is the moment when many of us have decided to take part on several initiatives and advocate for the community. And this is something that it's very important, because if you look back to yourself when you were starting figure skating in school, perhaps you probably did struggle at some points throughout your growing up or in school. So this is something that in the future, you are an Olympic champion, you have accomplished, and so far in your career, I would like to ask you just one last message. What would you like to say to those young athletes that are starting in the sport, and maybe they don't feel included, maybe they are suffering some sort of discrimination, but they have someone to look up to?
I think that the one thing that helped me personally, when I would get bullied or when I, was having a hard time, is to know that I'm not the problem. Me being who I am is not the issue. It's about them, And it didn't really, I was never angry really at the people who bullied me or the people who made me feel like I wasn't included. I always thought like they're missing, they're missing a part, like they're not educated. I'm not the problem. Their perception of me is the problem. So I think when you remove yourself from the situation and you realize there's nothing I could do better, there's nothing I should be doing better, there's not, I don't have to be any different than I am. I have values, I'm a good person, I work hard.
Yeah.
Then, it's about them.
Yeah.
So suddenly I feel like the weight is taken off you. And then that's just like life in general. I think you just have to find the environment where you feel like you can thrive and you're appreciated. And if that's not a good environment for you, you can try to change it, but I think it's okay to also just go somewhere else.
No, but I think your message is very clear, and you really have to just be your true authentic self, and do not get do not get your everyone else opinions to affect you in anyhow.
You know, we always say
difficult.
that, but
That's the
it's
difficult part.
impossible not
Exactly.
to get affected by the other people's opinion. Everybody has an opinion, I think, but those cannot matter more than the opinion that you have on yourself, you know, and you have to go towards the people who actually appreciate you for who you are,
exactly.
right?
Yeah, because the sad story will be that because of all this discrimination, and this still happens, and this is what we're trying to avoid, is that young athletes drop out of their sport because of this bullying and discrimination. And it's something that, thanks to your perseverance and believing in yourself, you have been able to get to the top of your career.
Yeah. But you know what? What I wish there were more people who were not necessarily... I wish there were more allies that would speak up.
Exactly.
Because, you know, we can only do so much. Like me, we can talk to the kids who are being bullied, and we can talk to the people who are struggling and say it's okay, it's gonna get better. Like, you know, we can help. But as I was saying, they're not the problem. It's other people's perceptions of us that is, I think, the issue. And I'm like, it would be so easy. It would take one soccer player, one famous rugby player, one famous boxer, straight people, whoever, to say, you know, to just stand up for us, and the other ones would follow. But they're not doing it.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
They're not doing it because of what? Because they're scared? Scared of what? Or they feel like maybe they don't even think about it. I don't think it's like they're not trying to... It's not like a mean thing, but it's hard to reach out to those people and say, hey, can you stand up for us, please? You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, a lot of times that's what it is, you know? Like,
a
you know,
small
women,
action can
you know...
really change much, coming from individuals. Yeah, exactly.
I think you know, it's like women for women's right. Like, they can fight and they can stand up for themselves, but it's also important that men are here to be like, we support you, and you know what I mean? So that's what I wish there was a little bit more of. But.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you, Guillaume. Thanks again for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
You're already helping so much, and I'm sure your message will get far to those who need it. And an important message dropped here for everyone else, allies, to speak up and to really have a say in all this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.